In this section, we're going to talk about testing GDI injectors with a digital storage scope, a DSO, in order to get a waveform for diagnostics. There is one more selection you should view, and that's testing GDI injectors. When we're going to use a digital storage scope, we look down at a schematic, and we're going to have to place our current probe around one of the circuits for each injector. If you remember in the other selection about testing GDI injectors, and if you don't remember, that means you didn't view it. Go back and view that selection. It's very difficult to get to these injectors. Most of your testing with a low current probe is most likely going to be done up around the computer itself. Here's our waveform as it builds to about 12 amps. This is the pulse the computer makes. In the first part of this waveform, we're going to see how much current the PCM supplied. And in this case, it's slightly over 12 amps. Now, this high current is used to open the injector quickly. Then, immediately, the current drops down, in this case, about 5 amps. The reason for this, the injector is going to stay open the same amount it did at 12 amps, but the 5 amps is going to create a lot less heat on the injector coil and the computer itself. This is called the peak and hold. That means it peaked, opened the injector correctly, and then the current was dropped, in this case around 5 amps, in order to hold the injector open so it continues to flow fuel while reducing the heat on the injector coil and the PCM itself. Some manufacturers actually reduce it a second time, and that's no big thing. We would see it in the waveform. If it's not there, we would go to another injector and see if it was there. If it wasn't, that means the manufacturer of this particular vehicle doesn't use a second drop, and it's simply used by creating even less heat on the injector coil or the computer itself. This is only an example. Every manufacturer injector is going to have a different resistance, allowing different current flow. This example represents an overall view of what your waveform should look like on any given manufacturer's vehicle.